That is the aim, that is the ambition of my life. And I foresee my joy in that woman. Others feel if I pursue a degree, I graduate, I earn so much, then that is my particular accomplishment and that is the pinnacle of my joy. Like they say 4 people were traveling, or 3 people perhaps, in a simple example. They were speaking different languages. One spoke English, one spoke Urdu, one spoke Arabic. Someone came and gave them $1. Now they had to split the dollar. What are they going to do with the dollar? The one that speaks Arabic, he said, Ana ashtari al-inab. Ana ashtari al-inab. I'm going to buy inab. Okay, the other one that speaks English, he said, no, I want to buy grapes. I want to buy grapes. I'm not buying inab. I'm buying grapes. The third one said, no, mujhe angur kharidna hai. I'm buying angur. He says, I don't know what's your angur. I don't know what's your inab. I want my grapes. So then came along one person who spoke all 3 languages. Like, they say, بِقَدْرِ لُغَاتِ الْمَرْءِ يَكْثُرُ نَفْعُهُ. بقدر لغات المرء يكثر نفعه فتلك له عند الملمات أعوان فبادر إلى حفظ اللغات مسارعا فكل لسان في الحقيقة إنسان. That the more languages a person speaks, the better it is for him. So this person said, you know what, I will resolve your problems. You give me that $1 and I will get your angur, your inab and your grapes for you. I'll do everything. He went, he bought a bunch of grapes and he came and gave it. He says, this is your angur, it is your grapes and it is your inab. So the expressions are different, but the common thing is peace. Every man is searching for happiness. Every person is searching for inner contentment. And wallah, Allah has not kept in the capacity of the things of this world. You take a child, you give him an item, he fancies it for a period of time and the next day he is tired. Allah hasn't kept in the capacity of this world anything. In the capacity of this world to satisfy this restlessness of man, this crave of man, this ego of man. We continue with the hadith of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وَمَنْ كَانَ الْفَقْرُ فِي قَلْبِهِ. The one who has greed in his heart, the one who has contentment in his heart, nothing of this world, nothing. It is the perception that if you are healthy and you are wealthy, you are content. This is the deception and the delusion of the devil. Last year I had the opportunity to go to Malawi, which is the neighboring country from South Africa. The Quran Kareem was translated in the local vernacular language for the first time, and they had the launch of the Quran and there was the opening of the masjid. So some scholars were invited from South Africa. I was also amongst those that were invited. We were there at the launch of the Quran in the local language, in the vernacular language. Thereafter we visited many madaris, and we were taken into some of the rural areas where literally people are living below the bread line. When I say below the bread line, in abject poverty. In literally abject poverty. We went to a particular location and this particular scene, really caught my eye and I thought I relate it to you. There was a small little hut which was the house of this man. Safely I can say your laundry room is bigger than his entire house. Nearby there was a small well, there were some goats and some children were playing. It was extremely hot. There was no food, nothing, no fan, no aircon, nothing. This elderly aged man was sitting outside his particular hut in the heart of Africa, living in abject poverty. But that particular man had such a broad smile and he transmitted such warmth that I swear by Allah, it left an indelible impression in my heart and my mind. And it left me thinking that really what is wealth and what is poverty? Who is wealthy and who is poor? Who is content and who is depressed? A few years ago we were in Jordan. We were hosted by a very wealthy man. Subhanallah, Allah has given him such wealth. He filters his water 16 times before it comes out of the tap. He had spent in excess of $2 million on his garden. He received us at the airport, a breathtaking view, very scenic, mashallah. He owns more than 20 food outlets in the United States. And he received us, and what a beautiful atmosphere. We performed Maghrib namaz on his lawn. It's on one of the high mountains of Amman. It was really an impressive scene. But the engrossment and the engagement of that man was such, I did not cherish or admire or envy that man's wealth for a split second. And I kept on admiring the smile of this man living in abject poverty. What did the Nabi of Allah say? وَمَنْ كَانَ الْغِنَى فِي قَلْبِهِ. He who has contentment in his heart, فَلَا يَضُرُّهُ مَا لَقِيَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. No calamities of this world will depress him. You see, depression, Fir'aun is sitting on his throne. The vision was sown someone seen the vision, يُولَدُ مَوْلُودٌ يَذْهَبُ مُلْكُكَ عَلَى يَدِهِ, that a child will be born and you will lose your kingdom at the hands of that child. The child is not yet born. Fir'aun is still governing. But scholars write from that day onwards, وَطَارَ نَوْمُهُ وَبَقِيَ فِرْعَوْنُ لَا يَطِيبُ لَهُ طَعَامًا وَلَا شَرَابًا. That was the end of food, drinks, happiness and joy. From that day onwards, imagine the child is not yet born. They haven't yet made the diagnosis of cancer. Doctors suspect there is cancer. That's the end of joy in the life of that man. How many people aren't there who own a lot of wealth, but because of sicknesses they have such restrictions that the dog in that house eats better food than the owner? The man for breakfast has a very restricted diet. For lunch he cannot have this, he cannot have that. The dog in that house eats better food. And this is what the world is chasing. This is what the world is advertising. This is what we have been brainwashed with and been exposed to. Look at that beautiful hadith in Bukhari Sharif. When there is contentment in the heart, food for thought in particular for our sisters. Ata ibn Abi Rubah says, Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhu tells me, Ala urika imra'atan min ahli al-Jannah. Should I not show you a woman of Jannat? I said, please do tell me. He said, هذه المرأة السوداء أتت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. You see this woman of Abyssinian origin? Come, I tell you a story about this woman. She one day came to Nabi alayhi salam. Look at the condition in her life. It does not mean when a man has contentment, when Allah has given him, that calamities will not come. No, Allah will give him the strength to react differently. He will not get emotional by situations. Divinely Allah will inspire him, and I will elaborate on what I'm saying. Money can buy you a house, like they say, money can buy a house but not a home. Money can buy you a bed but not sleep. Person can be sleeping, on water bed, as they say. Insomnia is a medical condition that's only growing in the world. Deprived of sleep. And on the other hand, there is a beggar, a pauper, sleeping under the tree in mid-traffic. The people are driving, people are busy, engaged, and he's enjoying the divine sleep of Allah in the shade that Allah has provided. وَاللَّهُ جَعَلَ لَكُم مِّمَّا خَلَقَ ظِلَالًا. He appreciates the shade that Allah has given. And another man sitting in front of the ocean, having a beautiful view with his beloved wife on the third floor of that particular hotel, and he's tossing and turning and he cannot sleep. Where is then pleasure coming from? Look at this particular woman. She comes to Nabi alayhi salam. Ya Rasulullah, inni usra'u wa atakashaf. Oh Nabi of Allah, I suffer from epilepsy. Now what a fatal illness she is suffering. What is sickness? Now as the world harps upon it, that there's so many anti-aging products. You mustn't age, you mustn't be sick. There are so many sisters that are destroying their health just to look thin, just to look attractive, seductive. That I must look thin, I must look appealing, as this particular woman on this magazine and that magazine. Because I am made to believe that if I look thin, sweet, attractive and seductive, then I am successful and I am content. Yet that particular pill is destroying that woman. She is suffering, she is deprived of food. Like they say, the typical American mentality of dropping the levels of obesity is going to a particular shop. Can I have a double cheesy burger and a Diet Coke? Why the levels of obesity are too high, so I'll have a Diet Coke with a double cheesy burger. So anyway, this woman comes to Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ya Rasulullah, inni usra. Subhanallah, look at contentment. I swear by Allah, it comes divine from Allah. O Nabi of Allah, I suffer from epilepsy. And when I have these attacks, my sitter is exposed. Could you perhaps make dua to Allah that Allah cures me? Now what a tragedy in a life. It warrants total depression. Subhanallah, what are the teachings of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? The Nabi of Allah, one was to lift his hands and instantly make dua and Allah will respond positively and cure the woman. But the Nabi of Allah gave her a choice. In shi'ti da'awtu Allah an yu'afik. Wa in shi'ti sabarti walakil jannah. You have one of two choices. If you so wish, I will make dua to Allah now. He will cure you instantly, permanently, totally. On the other hand, if you endure, persevere, and exercise patience, I promise you, Jannat is yours. Now, in today's terms, when a person understands that sickness means depression, it means medical expenses, it means burdening the family, it entails a host of other things. Naturally a person is so desperate for cure, he'll do anything and everything. Another one, while I'm speaking about this, another hadith comes to mind.